Hello, Eric.
What's up, Daniel?
How are you?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Very good. Thank you for joining us today in our inaugural conversation.
You bet. Yeah, I'm stoked for you guys. Starting your first podcast?
Yep, just trying to spread awareness and talk about nutrition, health and wellness, performance, and we love learning about, people's methods for performance and training. And of course, we read up on all the stuff that you've accomplished and a lot of different things that I'm excited to learn about and ask you about.
Cool. Yeah, fire away. I love what you guys sent me. So what's your involvement with the bird bites and the drink company?
So yeah, that's both of our brands. Our company is Future Forward Foods, and those are two hallmark brands. We have a couple other products that we make, different types of co-packing products here and there, but those are our two hallmark brands. The bites started out, we used to make them at our house in New York City as like a homemade treat, dessert type of snack, and saw that all types of people love to eat them, whether they like to eat healthy or not. So it was something that could appeal to the masses, be nutritious, but also, be indulgent and fulfill your sweet tooth. And the drinks just was always inspired from when I was in middle school, just drinking a lot of sugary sports drinks, Gatorade, Powerade. And once I really learned what was in them, and after I really, dug deep into the nutrition facts and starting all different types of beverages and made my parents get rid of all the soda in the house. And, we started getting very healthy. That was literally when I was in fifth grade. So I always knew I wanted to get into the better for you food and beverage movement, just be a part of it and help educate consumers. I feel like that's one of the biggest issues. Like myself, when I was younger, didn't really understand a lot about what I was putting in my body, and just want to help people become healthier and educate people on nutrition and how good it feels to eat clean, live clean.
Cool. I love it. Yeah, the drinks were great. Geez, had like 3 or 4 of them one day after a long bike ride. Just
That's
devouring them, and yeah, the bites are really good too.
Thank you. That's exactly it. Well, I like to drink 3 or 4 of them as well. Which flavor of the drinks did you like the best, and or not
Grape was
like?
grape was really good. So I mean, I grew up also lacking some knowledge with what I was putting into my body and how I was going to perform physically and mentally after putting that in. So I grew up fishing with my father, and we would have Welch's grape soda, which obviously tastes delicious, and that kind of reminded me of like that Welch's grape flavor. It was really good. I haven't had just
Awesome.
a grape coconut water based drink in a really long time.
Very cool. So yeah, so of course, Iron Man. He's done various Ironmans, which is something that I hope to do one day. It's a dream of mine for sure. But just would love to learn about your process for training for that. And are you planning to do more of them? How often do you do them? How long does it take to really prepare for one?
Yeah, so Iron Man was a chapter in my life. It was a chapter in my life from like 2010 to 2015. And, I kind of like dipped my toe in the beginning. I bought a fancy triathlon bike with the 4 handlebars. Honestly, that was what got me into the sport, as a lot of my friends had these cool looking bikes. And I'm like, I want one of those cool looking bikes. So I got one, and then I'm like, well, I guess I got to sign up for a triathlon. I didn't have much of a swimming background. I grew up boating, so I had been in water, but I never learned how to swim like with my head in the water long distances. And I had a running background. I ran in high school. I was a decent runner. I ran cross country and track. So I had some like endurance miles, and the biking came pretty naturally for me during that time period from like 2008 to 2010. I was training with a personal trainer back in upstate New York, and I got like pretty strong and pretty anaerobically fit. I was doing CrossFit type workouts before I even knew what CrossFit was. So I signed up for a sprint triathlon, and I almost drowned in the swim. I had to side stroke and like backstroke my way through it. And then the bike, I passed a lot of people. The run, I passed a lot of people. And the way they do triathlons, they have like all these different awards for, age group and for like open division and sport division. So it's pretty easy to place in some kind of division. So I think I got third place in like age group at that race. So I'm like, damn, I'm pretty good at this. So it was, empowering to want to continue doing it and just kind of see, how far I could take it. And I started doing these triathlons every Wednesday night in Jamesville, New York. And like I would show up and I would race them. I would go really fast. They were short. They were like a 600 swim, maybe a 10 or 12-mile bike, and then like a 5K at the end. And like I went hard every Wednesday and I'd win those. And then but I would do a local triathlon, and this guy, Mike Corona, would beat me in all of these local triathlons. And, during that time period, I looked really fit from doing all of the weight training. Like I was pretty ripped, and he didn't look as fit as I did. So I'm like, why is he beating me in all these races? So I ended up hiring him as a coach, and he taught me the most valuable lesson I could learn in triathlon. That, there's exercise and there's training. And exercise is just kind of, going through the motions, burning calories, you'll probably make progress. But then there's training, which is with purpose. And he taught me, it's called the Maffetone method, which is heart rate training. And, to be a really good endurance athlete, you need to be durable and you need to have an aerobic engine. And, there's multiple ways to do it, but kind of a tried and true method is this Maffetone method, where it's a lot of aerobic heart rate training. So his theory was you take your age and subtract it from 180, and that is around what your aerobic heart rate zone is. So he made me slow way down on all of my workouts, but I ramped up the volume. And, by doing that, like 80 to 90% of my training was done at between a 130 and 140 heart rate on the bike and running. And by slowing down, I was able to do like longer distances running, longer distances biking. And over a 4-year period, I developed this incredible aerobic engine. So in like 2010, 11, I could run like a 7-minute per mile pace at like a 155 heart rate for 8 miles. Fast forward to 2014, and by doing no real intensity, mainly just by doing this aerobic training, I could run a 630 per mile pace at a 129 heart rate for 20 plus miles. And it was literally just from like building durability. One of our good friends was a CrossFit athlete, Sam Dancer's in town right now in Denver, and I was talking to him about it last night. And it's not the fittest person that wins an endurance race. It's the person who's the most durable, has a really good nutrition plan, and has like this unlimited aerobic gas tank. So, I had to learn that the hard way. Like I went in fit, like anaerobically fit and strong, but I didn't have durability and I didn't have this aerobic engine. My body was not good at burning fat for fuel. And that's what a lot of that aerobic heart rate training does, is it teaches your body to burn fat for fuel, because your fat gas tank is way up here and your carb gas tank or glycogen is way down here. So you want to get really good and efficient at burning fat for fuel. So yeah, that was my triathlon progression. It went from a sprint triathlon to 5 full Ironmans, probably 25 half Ironmans, and then qualifying twice for the Ironman World Championships in Kona, and doing pretty well at the championships in 2014. And then I kind of switched gears after that. I was kind of in a limbo between triathlon and strength training from 2014 to 2017. And then 2017, I moved to Colorado and I started doing more CrossFit training, and then, mountain biking, trail running, hiking for aerobic fitness. And I've kind of found like this happy medium between the two, where I feel good day in and day out. And, I can just replicate the volume day in and day out without having, a down day, which you're going to have if, you do a 6-7 hour training day with triathlon, or if you do a CrossFit competition and you redline 6 times in a day. So, I try to avoid those 2 scenarios.
What does your nutrition plan look like to prepare for something like that? Like, what makes you the most durable? Because did you switch to like a keto lifestyle diet to go for high fat and burning
I did.
fat instead of?
Yeah, during that time period, I wasn't testing for ketosis, but I kind of know what that feeling is like. And, I would say, yeah, a lot of the time I was in ketosis. I was eating a high fat diet. So a lot of salads, a lot of nuts and seeds, avocado, eggs for protein and fat, lean meats, chicken. I wasn't eating very much red meat during that time period. But yeah, it was very high in veggies and fats and very low in carbohydrate. I was not eating a lot of carbohydrate during that time period. And
What
that worked
about
for me. That worked
what?
really well for triathlon training. I do not eat that way now. My diet is drastically different, having really switched gears, and I do a lot more anaerobic conditioning now and a lot more strength training. So I eat a lot of red meat, and I eat more carbs now than in the past.
But what about during the, let's say, an Ironman? Do you think you need carbs during that, or you still like to be on the high fat burning for that?
So in a race, 100% carbs are necessary. You're really drugging yourself to go fast in an Ironman, meaning like on the run, I'm living on Coca-Cola. Every
Really?
single mile, yeah, at an aid station, I'm grabbing like a small cup of Coca-Cola to spike my blood sugar to get me to the next mile. I'm drinking Perform, like salty, sugary beverages, Gatorade, like on the bike course. Um, and I'm usually popping like every 45 minutes a goo gel packet with 100 milligrams of caffeine. At any one time during an Ironman race, I probably have 600 to 800 milligrams of caffeine in my system. And I'm trying to get in about 350-ish calories every hour on the bike and close to that on the run. Probably a little less than that on the run just to not upset my stomach. But yeah, I mean, you're very much just like drugging yourself with sugar and, fast reacting carbohydrates and caffeine to go fast in an Ironman. And, that was not a typical like training diet, but in a race, that's what I was doing. In some of my longer training sessions leading up to Ironman, I would practice, having that much sugar and that much caffeine just to know how my stomach was going to react to it. But typically in training sessions, I was still, doing high fat type things for my longer rides and runs. It wasn't until I got closer to that, race season and then the actual races where I would switch to that.
Very cool. What about fasting? Were you fasting? Do you fast? Do you like to work out fasted or?
Yeah, I don't like snacking. I typically do 3 meals a day, and during that time period, the same held true. During that time period, I was doing bulletproof coffee in the morning before my first training session, and then I would have a smoothie or smoothie bowl afterwards. I do my second training session, maybe have some kind of bar after that, and then have a big dinner. Um, now my diet is pretty similar, where I'll just have coffee, collagen. I do athletic greens, colostrum, some beef or bison liver in the morning, pills, capsules before my first training session. And then I'll usually do like eggs and chicken sausage or a smoothie or smoothie bowl after that first training session. Some kind of bar after like biking or running. And then again, a big dinner at night.
So never working out fasted. You have breakfast right when you wake up, pretty much.
No, well, I mean, I just have coffee and
Just coffee.
collagen. I guess that's not, completely fasted, but I'm not consuming a big breakfast before my first training session. It's might be 150 calories before that first training session. So some calories, but not a lot of calories.
Well, yeah. First training sessions. How many sessions are there usually per day? More than one every day?
Yeah, there's almost always two, 5 days a week. 2 days a week, there might be one. And then if I'm ramping up for some kind of race or competition, it could be upwards of 3 to 4.
Wow. What's your favorite type of training at the moment?
Mountain biking. I
Mountain
absolutely
biking.
love mountain biking. The last 4 years, that's been my favorite thing I do. It's just such a flow state activity because it's skill based. There's a risk component. Obviously, your heart rate is elevated. You're outside in Mother Nature. You have to be present the entire time. So there's like all of these factors that just make it like you just have such a high during and after it.
What's the most amount of miles you biked at one time?
Most amount of miles I've biked at one time. I mean, I've done Leadville mountain bike race. That's the most I've ever done on a mountain bike. That was 104 miles, 14,000 feet of elevation gain. At 10,000 to 12,500 feet. And then my longest road bike ride, I mean, every Ironman I did was 112, so I've done that 5 times. And then training, I think the longest I ever did training leading up to an Ironman was maybe 120, 125 miles. And then probably a short run off of that, like a 30 to 45-minute run off that bike.
Wow. Somebody just wrote a question in. What does your balance of cardio and weight training look like? That's a good question.
So right now it looks like 5 days a week. I'll do strength training and anaerobic conditioning, gymnastics, skill work. So kind of like how a high-level CrossFit athlete would train. I'll do that session generally in the morning. That's usually 90 minutes to 2 hours. And then in the afternoon, 5 to 7 days a week, I do some kind of steady state cardio. So mountain biking would be my favorite of all those. Trail running, it might be a long EMOM, doing different like erg movements coupled with like body weight or gymnastic movements. And rest days aren't scheduled. I just kind of let like life get in the way. Or if I feel like really banged up, I do a race competition, I'll take a rest day after that. Or, if I have to travel somewhere, that may be a rest day, but I don't typically schedule a rest day. I'm typically moving in some capacity every single day unless something gets in the way or it's the day after an event or the day before an event. I'll usually go pretty easy.
Yeah, resting is definitely a big challenge. I struggle with that a lot, but I do think it is very important. Do you feel like you don't rest enough?
During my Ironman years, definitely. I wish I had more scheduled rest days. It just got so easy to be addicted to that high from exercise that, I went into most of my races too fatigued just because I was so addicted to, the high from exercise. So I do think rest days are super important if you are training at a high level and you want to be elite at something, because you're going to have to go at an intensity that is like really breaking down, muscle and also, taxing your nervous system. So yeah, I think rest days are super important when you're training at that high level. But, again, like my typical routine, like I know what I can do day in and day out to not overstress my nervous system from any one thing. And, also like not going too long. Like I typically don't go more than 2 hours with most of my aerobic sessions anymore because I know that, I'm going to pay for it the next day some. But I also have like a religious recovery routine that I do. I mean, this is essentially my job now that I get to do this. So I have a lot of hours in the day that I can dedicate to this. So, I'm doing 60 to 90 minutes of cold exposure, sauna, red light therapy almost every single day. So if I didn't do that, I would not be able to do the type of volume that I do. And, all of that together also allows me to get like super deep sleep at night. And that is your number one recovery tool, is setting yourself up for really good sleep every single day.
What is your favorite type of recovery? Hot or cold?
My favorite is combining the two. So I'm at my buddy Bickle's house right now, and we're setting up the ice bath right now in the ice barrel. We're gonna do 3 rounds, 25 minutes in a barrel sauna at about 200 degrees, and then we'll do 5 to 7 minutes in the ice barrel. The water temperature will probably be around 40 degrees. That is my favorite recovery routine. I do that 4 to 5 days per week. The other days I'll do an infrared sauna for like 45 to 50 minutes, or I'll take a hot Epsom salt bath, or I will jump in. I mean, this time of year, the streams aren't super cold in Colorado, but outside of the summer months, the streams in Colorado are pretty cold. So I'll just jump in a cold stream, sit in there for 5-10 minutes.
That's awesome. Sounds great. I wish I could do that 5 days a week. I saw that you have 2 restaurants that you're involved in. One of them is called Original Grain, and one of them is XO Taco.
Yeah, so I am no longer involved in those. I sold my shares last year, but Yeah, I helped start the original grain restaurant with my business partner Chris Biley, and it is a healthy fast casual restaurant in Syracuse, New York, and Rochester, New York. So it's kind of like a sweet green meets a Jamba Juice, for lack of a better one that everyone would know. So we do smoothie bowls, smoothies, grain bowls, salads, butter coffee, and it's hip hop music playing, super cool atmosphere. And then the other restaurant is called Exo Taco, and it's a trendy Mexican restaurant in Syracuse. And both of those were passion projects, with a business partner who, was super savvy with building a brand and had experience in hospitality. And, ultimately he took the lead in executing on our shared vision and absolutely knocked it out of the park. So yeah, if any of you guys are in Syracuse, New York, or passing through, definitely go to those restaurants. They're awesome.
Definitely. It sound real. I'm sure I would love them. Is there a reason they're in Syracuse? Is that where you're from, or?
Yeah, I grew up in a small town called Pulaski, New York, about 40 minutes from Syracuse, New York. Grew up on near Lake Ontario, so grew up fishing and playing basketball in my parents' backyard. And then I went to college at Geneseo near Rochester, New York, and then I landed in Syracuse right after college. And yeah, up until 5 years ago, Syracuse was home for me. And then I moved out to Denver 5 years ago, and now this is home base.
Well, it's a lot of coincidences there. I also love basketball. I'm from New York, and my brother was actually living. He moved from New York to Denver for a year last year, and he was in
Oh, so
Denver.
cool.
So I came to Denver a few times last year. It was great.
Amazing.
Yeah. So so that's great to learn about. What about supplements? What is your favorite type of, what is the most effective types of supplements, would you say? I saw you have a whole routine of various types of supplements, and always just interested to learn about other people's methods for supplementation.
Yeah. So in the morning, I put collagen in my coffee. Collagen, hence the name, is a vital protein that we start to lose the ability to produce as we age. And it's like the building blocks for your hair, your skin, your nails. So I do collagen in the morning in my coffee. Colostrum is something new that I just started taking recently. This company called Armra. Colostrum is the first food that a mother feeds its baby after they come out of the womb. So, seems like there's some pretty good science behind that being a nutrient that you should be having for your immune system specifically. Creatine is something I've taken on and off for a very long time. I truly believe creatine helps build muscle mass. So I always have creatine in my routine. Athletic greens I have every single morning in water. In that same water, I put the colostrum, and then I also put Beet Elite from Human. So it's just a beet supplement. Beets have been shown over numerous studies to improve circulation and help with endurance. So I've always had beets as part of my supplementation routine. I do like collagen protein whenever I make smoothies or smoothie bowls. And then in the evening, I take Beam Dream every single night, which has CBD, melatonin, magnesium, tryptophan, and that is just like magic for deep sleep. And I'll just mix that in some like homemade almond milk or cashew milk.
How about any adaptogens, any herbal supplements?
Yeah, I definitely have done mushrooms here and there. Steep Into It was a company I worked with recently. I still will put in like cordyceps and stuff, either in coffee or in smoothies. Mushrooms definitely are an incredible nutrient to supplement with. What else? NMN is something I've been taking as well lately. It's the precursor to NAD, and there's been a lot of studies on like rats that have shown that it can reverse their aging. I met this gentleman, Ken Rideout, who's an incredible runner. He's the fastest U.S. marathoner over 50 at Brian Maz's event, HPLT, and he swore about NMN for just like reversing aging, and a lot of high performers are taking that. So those are two other great ones. NAD you can do as a drip. You can go to like Restore Hyper Wellness and get an NAD drip.
Very cool. I got to check that one out. Colostrum is one I've been reading about, and I'm definitely interested to try, but I got to try those as well.
Yeah, all good. Some of these you can feel the effect, like caffeine, you obviously feel the effect. Beta alanine, you feel the effect. And other ones are just like, yeah, I mean, oftentimes we're deficient in a lot of nutrients. So, these athletic greens, they're providing nutrients that most of us are deficient in.
Yeah, Athletic Greens is a great product. So you said you use, yeah, CBD. You find CBD or THC good for your recovery?
Yeah, CBD definitely. I've used Beam's various CBD rubs on and off. Definitely seems to help with recovery. The Beam Dream, I mean, there is melatonin in it, so I know melatonin certainly is something that will knock you out at night. But they have nano CBD in that. Again, it's one of those things where I can't say like caffeine. I like really feel it, but do I have a general sense of well-being when I'm taking all of these things? Yeah, definitely. So I think there's a place for CBD. THC. I do not smoke marijuana. I have not experimented much with THC, but I do have a lot of friends that are huge believers in THC for recovery, getting sleep, even fueling like athletic performance and mindset. So yeah, I think there's benefits in that too.
Definitely. Cool. Well, a lot of good things we went through. Any questions to ask me at the moment?
Uh, I mean, tell me about the different brands that you started and where you want to take them and what your distribution looks like. If there's any people on here that are young entrepreneurs, I always love chatting entrepreneurship and, love seeing people like you starting things.
Same here. Yeah, we love the grind and it's all in the food and beverage industry. It's all about hustle, and it's very humbling because it's so competitive. And when you first get into it, which was like 6 years ago for us, you think like you think everyone's like you. You think consumers are going to think the way you think, but it's really eye opening just seeing how many different types of consumers there are doing totally different things that work for them. And that's why, again, why we started these conversations, so we can just learn from others what works for them and what doesn't work for them, opposed to trying to tell people what works for them. We're just trying to learn from our customers and consumers. So we're always just learning and asking questions. But for us, we know we're just obsessed with health and wellness and fitness and nutrition, and just want to keep the youth healthy and active, and just educate how important that is. So that's the main goal, and we hope to use our products to push those messages across. Of course, we know we love the content and nutrition that's in our products, and we only want to put out clean, healthy, and of course tasty products. Very important that they taste good as well, because most people, the first thing they care about is great taste.
Yep.
But the bites, like I said, that started. We were making them in our house in New York City, handing them out to all our friends. People were taking bags of them home with them, and then we got our own kitchen here when I was in college in Washington D.C. about 6 years ago, and moving into our brand new facility later this month with a lot more industrial equipment, just really new products, just scaling it to the next level. We just got our Mighty Bites product, which is my favorite product personally because it's sugar-free, all natural, sugar-free, 16 grams of plant protein, 10 grams of prebiotic fiber for gut health. And they're going to be launching in 383 Sprouts locations.
Wow.
If you ever, thank you. And yeah, selling a lot in e-commerce, direct to consumer. We love that. We make everything fresh every day, and then we ship it out every day. So nothing better than sending it from our kitchen directly to people's front door, and we know that they're getting super fresh products. Something that's bothered us over the year, just seeing no one likes seeing that stale bar on the shelf or a hard bar. So I love the e-commerce of just shipping directly really fresh product straight from our kitchen. That gets us really excited. And yeah,
Very cool.
Just trying to keep building every day.
Have you crossed paths with the Jimmy and the crew at Super Coffee by chance?
A long time ago, yes. They were actually in an incubator that we were in Bethesda, coincidentally years ago. But of course, they've taken off, and it's been very exciting and great to see their success. But I haven't had the chance to see them in a little while.
They're great
guys. Why you work with them?
Yeah, Jimmy was at HPLT with me in Austin. Yeah, I'll reconnect you guys if you want. I mean, they've obviously built a really big brand, and they have some incredible distribution with their products. So always like connecting like-minded entrepreneurs to, help both people thrive.
I appreciate that. Yeah, they have amazing energy, and definitely always following them and aspiring to build like they do. Is there any other entrepreneurship projects that you're working on?
No, nothing at the moment. No, I've kind of shifted gears and I do more investing in entrepreneurs rather than starting my own stuff. I really like the routine I have right now and the lifestyle, and I know how hard entrepreneurship is, and have kind of taken that head off the table for a bit to just enjoy this chapter of life.
Yeah, your routine sounds amazing. I wish I could sit in the sauna for an hour right now. Which sauna do you use? I saw it online, but I would love to hear just the details on it. I think it was like one of those portable ones, right?
So the sauna that is at my friend's house is an almost heaven sauna. It's the Princeton model, 6 person. And I'm having a sauna built right now in Minnesota by my buddy Noah and Lewis. That is going to be like a cube sauna with a Hume heater. And should have it in about a month. So, I mean, there's a lot of great saunas and sauna brands out there. My favorite heater that I've experienced is this Hume heater that just puts out a really, really even heat. It has about 300 pounds of rocks on it, and the more rocks you have, the more evenly the heat is distributed. Where some of the other heaters, they don't have many rocks on them, so they certainly get really hot, but like the heat is very direct, meaning like, it stings your nose and it stings when you breathe in, instead of it being like really dispersed well, where it's not burning you. It just is like a really hot room. So that's what we're having installed at our house. But yeah, I mean, based on price points, like the Almost Heaven saunas, they do the trick. They're great. They stay hot, even with a lot of cold bodies going in and out of them from ice back into the sauna. So that's what a lot of my friends have.
Very cool. I'm definitely hoping to get one of those in the near future. Do you practice yoga at all?
I did for about a year and a half, up until COVID, and then I got out of the routine because all the yoga studios closed, and I have not gotten back into the routine. But I felt great when I was doing it. Yeah, I mean, I got to get back into that routine. Again, because of the recovery that I do, and a lot of the Olympic lifting requires tremendous mobility. So just warming up for those movements and doing those movements, I get quite a bit of mobility from them. But I have noticed that hips are much tighter now than they were when I was practicing yoga on a regular basis.
Definitely, yeah. Yoga's awesome. Which gym do you work out of? Is there a specific gym that you go to every day, or you work from out in the nature mostly, or?
So it's spread out. So I work out at my place some. I have a home gym. I work out at my friend Bickle's place quite a bit. He has an amazing home gym. Um, I've been training recently at a facility called V3, which I really, really like, and I love the owners of it, Bo and Ruthie. They do strongman training, CrossFit training, functional bodybuilding, functional fitness, conditioning. They have a sauna and cold plunge there, an ice barrel and stock tank. So I really like going there. One of my close friends had a gym that I was training at a lot called Apex, but he just let the lease lapse. Running a gym is hard. It's really hard to make money doing it. So I was going there to his gym. And then I'm outside a lot. I mean, I live right next to the mountains, so I can mountain bike from the house, road bike from the house, trail run from our house. So yeah, I mean, all of the steady state cardio pretty much that I do this time of year is done outside in the mountains.
Awesome. Very cool. Well, yeah, those are all the one other question I had. Yeah, what about for like acupuncture or massages or cupping? Recently, I've been doing a cupping like once a week, and it was my favorite thing ever.
It's great. I do. I mean, if I had access to getting massages inexpensively, I would do it almost every single day. Maybe not every single day, just because I feel like sometimes I wake up the next day and I'm a little sore or groggy from it. But deep tissue massages I get every other week. During my triathlon years, I got a deep tissue massage twice a week. But I was not doing cold exposure back then. So that was like my primary recovery protocol. And then cupping, I'll get here and there. If I tweak something, cupping and deep tissue massage is like the first thing I'll do, and chiropractic. My girlfriend's a chiropractor, so I do that regularly as well. And then dry needling I will do if I like really tweak something. So when I first moved to Colorado, from all of the impact of like running downhill out here, I had bursitis in my hips. So I was going to my buddy Derek McBride's facility and doing dry needling like, I don't know, twice a week to get my hips feeling better. So dry needling is something I'll resort to if I do tweak something or injure something.
Wow. Wow. A lot of good stuff. Very great to learn about all those different methods, and I really appreciate you sharing all of that.
You bet.
I think that's really all I got for now, but I really appreciate you coming on, having the first conversation with us here, and we really appreciate it.
You bet. Looking forward to seeing where you take it and where you take your various brands.
Definitely, yeah. Hope you enjoy that sauna session, cold plunge, and have a nice recovery and a great night.
I sure will. Thanks, brother. Same to you. Great chatting with you.
Thank you.
Later, guys.
You too.